Folks, I got pretty close to 6 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order, and I'm gonna turn it over to Randy and Val and all parties concerned. And we've got a lot to cover in an hour.
Well, I'm trying to make it really go fast.
There you go.
This looks really long, it's like 4 pages, but it's mostly all of the capital projects that are rolling over, from funds that didn't get expended in the prior year. There are a couple that are looking for a few additional dollars, but it's nothing major. So, I don't know if you want me to go through every one of these on page 1, but it's really just all rollover for the most part. They're the projects that we've had in the works on page 1. On page 2, toward the bottom, you will notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4 new grants and awards that are pretty sizable dollar amounts. One is primary extension paving for Roanoke southbound, one for northbound, one for paving on Pepper's Ferry, and Stafford Drive signal. So those 4 are almost $7 million in grant revenue. So it's a pretty good chunk of money, and a couple of them are 50-50. The biggie one is all grant funded, 100%. That's the North Franklin Depot intersection. So it's a chunk of money added to the budget, but it's also mostly all grant funded.
I know that I noticed that the North Franklin Depot intersection one is there, and I know it's just, I had nothing to do with funding or anything like that. I haven't asked for this to be done or whatever, but because of the proximity of some of my properties to that, do I have to get myself out of this discussion, or can I stay in it?
It would be similar to the situation with the grant, that it would affect more than 3 property owners in the area. So, Lionel Reed's opinion on that, I would think that if more than 3 property owners in the area are affected, I wouldn't think it would be a conflict.
Well, I guess I'll just make disclosure right here. I own property close to this intersection, and there is more than 3 properties in the middle of this, so if that's bad, I will,
We'll just continue on with the time. I mean, you're gonna participate, is that right?
I am gonna
Yeah,
participate,
that's
if that's
fine.
okay with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So the total of the capital projects is, coming from unassigned would be $1.46 billion. And then I'll skip over the general fund adjustments for a second, because I think that's where we're gonna have most of our discussion. The enterprise funds, there again, it's just rollover of all of the capital projects. There's a couple of additional items that operations has asked for, which had to do with some pretty large, projects, maintenance breakdowns that they had to suck out of their budget that they weren't really planning on, so they're asking for an increase. And it's for replacement of the gearbox on pump 1, meter, replacements. Because of changeovers in meters, we had to buy a little extra amount than we normally would have budgeted for. They had to relocate a water main on Robin and Auburn. And then we have the DEQ consent order that we had no consulting fees in the budget for. And then for stormwater enterprise, those are all project rollovers from last year. There's nothing really new. It's, both of these are coming from the enterprise fund balances with no additional funds coming from unassigned general fund. So the more discussion ones are kind of at the top of page 3, and those are the general fund adjustments. So, the first one's just carryover for the fund reserves for the software, with what didn't get expended last year and therefore wasn't budgeted into this year. And then the rest of these, I'll let you kind of read through them, and then we can go down the list if you guys want to discuss any of them.
Like a change order with the park. Pickleball courts, we are proposing to potentially do this fiscal year, either possibly as a change order or as a separate bid. We would probably try to pursue it as a change order, and if we think the pricing is good, and that's if town council would like to fund that. Part of the reason we're pushing that is we have, I guess, Parks and Rec's heard a lot of requests for the pickleball court. It definitely seems to be a growing thing.
Those courts were not in the original plan.
Well, they were in the overall master plan for the park, but they are not in the current contract for the first phase of the park.
Gotcha.
They're basically in the deferred portion of the park.
How many courts this entail?
That would be 4 courts is what we're estimating. And, the original, I guess, master plan for the park actually called for 2 pickleball courts and 2 beach volleyball courts. Through discussions with Brad Epperly, we feel that we would have the demand for the 4 pickleball courts.
So if that is approved, that does get included in the first phase?
That would be either included in the agreement with Faulkner as a change order, or we may bid it separately
Okay.
after taking possession of the park. We could do either.
Where will those be located at?
If you are looking at the community building and splash pad from the Huckleberry Park, drive, it would be to the left-hand side.
I wonder if this will be an item that we could possibly talk to the county supervisors and see if they will be willing to even donate the money to. I mean, I am so excited about seeing them here too, which I think they're a really good addition to our park.
Or capital items that could potentially wait until next fiscal year. I kind of leave that at council's discretion. The rehab of the police department facade, the downtown bathrooms, we would, basically go ahead and try to get right-of-way fees for College Street.
Candy, can you explain a little bit as far as like the building exterior for the police department? I know that is falling under disrepair in a lot of the places, the columns, you can see the wood falling apart and everything. Does that include all the surrounding around the building or just the front of that?
I think that's really just the front facade.
Yeah. That's what-
300,000?
No, 130.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Eyeballs slipped a line there.
This has been in the budget a couple of years and was cut before it got to council. And it is, and if you've gone by and run, you've looked at it.
Oh,
It's
and,
embarrassing.
and I gotta tell you, I am really happy that it's here, because if we don't take care of our own properties, including our police department, I don't know that, I think that our police department in building should be very presentable. And it is a shame that pieces of wood are falling apart. I mean, I
There's
totally agree with
bits of
you.
wood falling, the
trim,
whatever it is, the
yeah, the
surrounding,
trim
yeah.
and the painting is
Yeah.
chipping off.
And I think they've got in their plans to fix all that. Plus, I think they're gonna redo the front of it.
Mhm.
Not a lot you can do with brick, but, I mean, as far as the way it looks and some of these things, I think they're,
But we're keeping the blue color and stuff, right?
I-
But is the
to
tone
the best of my
color?
knowledge, it may be a different shot, I don't know. But
Well, I am
think we
so,
need to do this.
I am so for this, and I agree with you on that.
We won't make any decisions on this tonight. this will have to come back through a public hearing, is that correct?
Right, the only thing we're looking for is if what's in this amendment right now is what you want put out for public hearing. And we'd schedule the public hearing for November meeting,
13th, 12th, whatever.
whatever it is.
The
Um,
time,
So we would just this would just be to reach a consensus on what you want put out for the public hearing. And then after the public hearing, either that night or in January, you can then vote on the actual amendment itself and what you wanna keep and don't wanna keep.
can you explain to me what is the on-call pay, public works department and salary?
Proposing that to help with recruitment for Public Works.
Is that like a bonus?
It is essentially paying them for being on call, because they are, their time is kind of tied up, even though they might not necessarily get a call. So we're proposing to pay them, I guess up to two hours minimum
Per day,
per,
on call.
per day they're on call.
This is basically weekends, Jim, is that correct?
7 days a week,
Is it?
yeah, Monday to Monday.
Okay.
So what we're proposing is 2 hours at their regular rate, just for being on call, for that 7-day period.
And then you rotate the on-call people, or I don't know, at any point in time, how many do you anticipate having on call?
Every week we have 18 people on call.
And which item was that again? So,
Part of the menu.
Yeah,
It is, but
in
there's a
there.
separate handout.
It's under,
Well-
that's under the general fund adjustment,
Yeah,
the 95,347.
it's not over in the right-hand column because for the budget amendment, there is no change in dollars.
It would still be coming out of salaries.
Yeah, because of all the vacancies, he's still got enough room to cover it in this year's budget without an amendment, but we did wanna make sure and have this discussion with you if we're gonna put it in place in January.
Because it will affect the budget.
Yes.
Now, I know and I'm in favor of doing that. However, like later on, hopefully for the next year, we have more employees working for Public Works. That can obviously be, we can take a look at this again and probably just hire more people for that amount. Is that correct, or not at all?
no, ma'am.
No, they're on call, all of us are on call on a rotation. So right now, with the reduced number of employees, they're picking up more rotation.
Mhm.
So as we gain more employees, the rotation for them, which will help their work-life balance, will be increased. Dollar amounts will change when the merits or the COLAs or anything else changes. And the other part of that is, we're proposing to reduce, right now, when they get called out, they get a 3-hour minimum for the initial call in a week. Second, or the rest of the week, their call-outs are 2-hour minimum. What we're proposing now is to go to strictly a 2-hour minimum, but every hour they get called back will be automatically overtime. And that was based on all the work that Ms. Stiles did, researching the other municipalities in the area.
I think this is really competitive.
I like that.
I think this is smart. I think will for attention.
Yeah, I think so too, and also recognize the strain it puts on my staff.
Right, I
If
mean.
you're on call, you're pretty much, I mean, there's not going to the movies or,
Yeah, it's very difficult, we walked out of a theater a time or
Yeah.
two.
yeah.
So is this exactly as you have other localities listed, is that exactly as Blacksburg does it now?
Pretty
Am I
similar to,
understanding that right?
Thank you for putting the work into that.
well,
The 3-hour minimum and then automatic OT,
yeah,
All about-
Blacksburg, I think they use the 3-hour minimum.
and did you say 2?
Yeah, we're
Okay,
proposing a
okay.
2-hour minimum.
Yeah.
Our on-call period 1 week?
Yes, ma'am. Monday to Monday.
It's basically, what is it, week on, week off, or is it 2 weeks on, 2 weeks?
Right now, it's a 5-week rotation,
Okay.
the way we've got it staffed. And like I said, as we get more employees, everyone in our department is required to be on call. So that'll push that rotation out. which will allow staff to be able to plan better vacations, give them more of a gap between it. Kind of recognizing the strain and the work-life balance it puts on it, to try to benefit that too.
I'd be interested to see if we do this for this year, or the rest of this fiscal year with the money that's already in your salary savings. It'll be interesting to see.
Definitely.
That's a quick question, concerning the downtown bathroom park. Have we heard anything from any other citizens about putting the bathroom down there, or restroom?
If you want me, I can post things online or whatever. I have been asked about it many times, and I don't know that you guys have been,
But
but
the
I
town
have
itself
been.
has not. I mean, we haven't received anything else.
I can get people to send emails if you like.
New time clock.
For the new software implementation,
Okay.
we have to put in all the time clock.
Got it.
You guys use some spots here, right?
Yeah, but the ones that we have will not work with the new executive. And they're about due for replacement anyway, once we have her.
Timely.
Yeah, about 5 years old.
I don't have an issue with the downtown park restroom. I mean, and surprisingly, it came in a whole lot less than what I thought. I mean, at one point, we were thinking it was somewhere in the 120 or better range, and I think this has come in very reasonable, and
You guys did a really good job doing the numbers and everything. I don't know if I ever thank you enough, but the other parts are obviously really good. I mean, they're really nice. They're always packed.
and I think it, with the exception of one or two, I think this will bring it up to par with some of the other parks we have, the Depot and
Circle.
Elliott Drive,
Circle.
Circle Park, all of them have those facilities in there, and I think it's okay.
The new park is obviously gonna have very nice, bathrooms, so.
So that's just my thought.
It'd be really nice to keep, you know, we talk about wanting to have people to come to the downtown area too. And, you know, I think this goes along with just keeping conformity, and keeping them all the same, so. We wanna continue and make sure that we use the rest of the parks in the town.
So, and I would recommend we keep that in, but I recommend that we leave the, general fund adjustments, additions as they are presented here. Public Works, we can vote on anything, but it's kind of my thought.
One item.
Hey, can you tell me a little bit about the, new position?
That would be the, economic development position. Kind of brainstorm a little bit of,
Right.
Councilman Wilson and,
Yeah.
Councilman
And
Jenkins.
Tim and I that's what we had brought forward, a couple months ago, and Val, the 100,000, I assume that's fringe,
That
that's
includes-
benefits, insurance,
Yeah,
That's
that would
all
be a
in
wage rate and
at
a
the
fringe,
ceiling.
and the fringe.
And on
Um,
that one,
And,
I would,
go ahead.
I would really like to, I actually just looked at it, I passed by it before, but I personally feel like on that one, can we weigh on it until we see what the economy is gonna do and make sure that we got all our ducks on the road as far as tourism and everything else that we're trying to do, and find out how can we get the most for our money right now?
Well, so when Tim and I put this forward, council asked us to go back with a more specificity on number. So that's sort of what we're looking at here, and that's why it was included, in this section here. And 100, again, being a ceiling, I think it could actually be,
It could be less than
80 or
that,
85,
but
yeah.
our fringe rate
But it's,
bumping on 40% right now. so-
right. So
But
we-
right now, it's showing that it's coming from the general fund, so we
Mhm.
wanted to choose for this. And you guys, I thought, one of my questions was, can you figure out how we can make sure that we make this out of, maybe reimburse ourselves and somehow figure out how to come up with some money?
What do you mean by reimburse?
Well, like, trying to find out if that position will actually pay for itself. Like right now, I don't see that with the economy downturn that we have right now. I don't know that physically, I feel like $100,000 in a position for this. My opinion is, I would rather have public works employees and other positions to be open up during this time until we figure out what this economy is gonna do.
Yeah, this doesn't take anything away from any of the existing positions. I think when we talked about it, all of council is in support of bringing in this position as a liaison to our small businesses.
Right,
Remember correctly? I mean, I don't have a problem. We were all supportive of the position, and I
Yeah.
don't know what I would wait on to say yes, bring it in or not. Just
Right.
because it's not connected and for
Yeah, I mean, I think, I certainly would love to keep it in as it is, and again, it wasn't, the direction we got last time wasn't, it was just, hone in on that dollar amount as we go forward, so, and I think, if anything, Val cushioned that a little bit, so.
For me, it was just get a place marker in
Right,
there and the
yeah, starting
amendment
point.
to be able to
Yeah.
have a discussion about it
Yeah,
as to whether
right.
you want it in
Bishop
there or
and-
not.
Right.
And Showalter, how do you guys feel about this position? And how do you feel that you're paying $100,000 for another position for this?
Well,
How many businesses do we have in this town, actually?
You want my
2,500.
response, or?
Yeah, I want the response. Well, I wanted to know what the business is.
Everybody,
I think with Fred, Casey can say, we padded a little bit, but you have to remember, you have health, BRS, everything else
Right.
factored in there.
Mhm.
Does that have anything to do with their budget in there, or just this pay?
No, it was just figuring a position somewhere between 40 and 60,000 and adding some
Yeah.
fringe
And fringe was like 40%.
computer equipment and other things, so I mean,
Then we'll have to anticipate, once they get here, they're gonna set up a budget,
right, and what's the timing for
but
hiring the position? Do we really need that much in, if we do a budget amendment now in January, do we really need that much in the amendment? Probably not, we probably only need half of that, because it would at best be half of the year.
I remember us discussing it, and we all agreed to move forward, but is it more than the small business? Is this going to assist, regional business or industry?
It was
Or is
mostly
this
small
strictly for
business
small
and,
business owners?
small business and retention. So, Tim's point was about, attracting businesses in, and my point was then about retaining them. So really, the dovetailing those two things together, for the local economy here.
So this wouldn't have anything to do with sort of the county, group that we're in?
No, in fact, it was sort of inspired, as the county is very, they look at large-scale industrial size, and we were actually looking to do something that was different than what the county's economic development office currently offers.
And they do have an economic developer from Montgomery County, which you are part of it.
Right, which is mostly industrial.
Yeah, not for small
It's
business.
industrial, it's
How much
not-
how much do we pay in that?
We don't pay the county anything.
Anything for that?
Well,
Okay,
but
good.
we pay the county taxes, 89 cents
Well,
for a hundred.
No, well, right, that's county, as county citizens, but we're talking about town citizens. Okay,
Yeah,
you answered my question, thanks for the
All right.
refresher.
no problem.
Bishop,
Well,
have any comments about it?
no, I have no problem in the work, that's right now.
Do you have a number of how many businesses we have in the town?
It's gonna be thousands, I think, I'll do out a number of, and this is from the air, I think.
I'm trying to
2,500,
think,
but
I asked, Stacy this
That
question
would
not too
include-
long ago.
that
How
would
many
include-
businesses
Because
that
wasn't it like
would-
9,000
That would
homes
include
and out of
home-based
9,000?
businesses too, though, so.
Yeah,
It was like 1,000 businesses, wasn't
It's-
it? 'Cause
it's
when I
more
got the
than
water
that.
bill.
It's probably a couple thousand, probably between
Yeah.
2,000 and 3,000.
if you include home occupations, it's over 2,000.
Okay.
So, we've heard for years, we need to invest in our small business owners, and this is one step towards it. I'm sure when they come in, there'll be more steps to that.
Yeah.
So,
I wanna see you gift baskets. though.
lay that,
I can promise you that.
College Street drainage is okay? That was,
Yeah, that's really just moving some money between the engineering fund and the project budget. At $300.
Spend ARPA money. College Street, property purchase.
So is there anything on this general fund adjustment additions that your mind needs to be taken out, or are we good at this point with a head nod, say, let's put it up and get the public hearings and go from there?
Guys, can I open a discussion regarding that stormwater thing on College Street? I think
Well,
I've
Are we,
been,
are we good with the general fund
That's the general, that's part of
that
that
we were just
general
talking
fund.
about?
I'm just gonna make a confession here. I've been thinking a lot about College Street lately, and I want this project to be done, obviously, and you know this, but one of the things that I was looking into with one of the properties being for sale over there is having a hard time selling, obviously, because of the problems that have been taking place over there. I know when I was looking at some of the emails the other day, one of the houses that is closer to the apartment buildings where the drainage pipes were stuck with wood and all kinds of stuff, and the debris from the storm that came through about a year ago. That one house really had a big impact on this, that it really completely flooded. And there is pictures of that. The other day, one of the last meetings that we were in, there was a lot of information that was about this one home especially. I got an email that you guys saw back not too long ago from some of the tenants that rent that property in there. And where the water really consumed the whole property around it, and it got in their basement and everything. I don't know that, maybe I'm asking to maybe even think about this a little bit more. I think maybe some of the decisions that we make, because and personally, I am concerned for the safety of the people in that College Street, but maybe what's the chances of even buying a couple of properties down there and just making a stormwater pond closer to that area? And then do some of the other stuff. And like I said to you, this hurts for me to say here,
It's
but
my
I'm just
understanding,
being honest.
sorry, it's my understanding this $185,000 is that back up the top, and it's
It
needed
is.
for a retention pond to help flow the water
But-
even more.
And that one is great because that one, I believe, is gonna hold the water from the
Okay.
very top of the, so I don't think that purchase is a wrong thing. I think
Okay.
we're working in the right direction.
But we're not in a discussion on College Street about anything else at this point. In this work session, is this $185,000?
Well, I think we were talking
No,
about
no,
the
no.
ARPA funds in here.
That money we already have, and that was part of the,
Mhm.
that was part of the figures that we used when we looked at this ARPA
We
money.
kind of earmarked that money for College Street, the ARPA money.
So we have the funds on it,
I know.
okay. Anything else?
Everybody's okay with putting this together for budget hearing, public hearing, public hearing
And you all
in
are,
December.
my assumption is we're all okay with this, the on-call positions and this type. We're okay to at least pursue further with the new position, although it's not, I don't know, we have qualifications out for it, this is just to reserve it.
Right.
If we were to do a bonus program for public works, does it need a budget amendment for that?
Why do a budget amendment, just when we work on next year's budget, isn't it?
I'm just hoping that, that we have enough, people to work for the winter time and the following month. I'll make sure that we can continue to keep the employees that we have. I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me that would be the hardest month for you guys, right, for retention or not?
Past few years, every month's been a little bit hard for retention. Work-wise, it's a little bit more difficult. with the snow removal and stuff like that, because it takes the whole crew, but we've made adjustments to cover that, so we're not as concerned as we was before we made all the adjustments. But the program and the operational, and some of the other departments has helped us with that, so they've come through our snow program and all that. So we've made the right adjustments. Yeah, it would always be nicer to have those vacancies gone, but we've made a little bit of progress in the last few weeks. We actually got a new safety coordinator starting on the 28th, and a new assistant director of utilities. I don't know his start date just yet, but he's accepted. Those were two big key positions that were good to backfill.
They both know how to drive dump trucks and stuff like that.
Oh, they will.
They have a brief understanding, but they'll get real familiar with it.
Yeah, the thing I like about this is over, like, I
Before we
mean,
get off-
bonuses are, you know.
We start drilling into a
Yeah.
whole other subject,
Mhm.
what we were supposed to be here for, is there anything else on this?
Well, can I ask one about
No.
the Public Works Department, full pay? Right here, it is only Public Works Department. How does it typically work if we were to give, you say you use other departments for the snow removal and stuff like that too. There is nothing in those departments where they make additional money, right? Besides their salaries or their hourly
No,
pay?
they would get paid for overtime.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, it would pay their rate, and then if they worked overtime, they would pay overtime.
Anything else? Do I
Okay.
see a nod or a wink to adjourn?
Yes.
So be it.